Are you actually saving money or are you just overspending without realizing it when shopping at Costco? The truth is, not everything that looks good value is actually worth the money. Some products can end up costing you more if you're not careful. Don't let the attractive price fool you. The list below will help you distinguish between worthwhile purchases and expenses to consider for more efficient shopping. You'd be awesome if you liked this video. Items to buy. 1. All-purpose flour. All-purpose flour is one of the clearest examples of how Costco leverages bulk sales to create unbeatable prices. At first glance, the figure of around 23 cents per pound might not seem like an exceptionally cheap deal. But when compared to the common price of around 40 cents for each 1 pound at supermarkets, even during sales, the difference becomes significant, especially when considering the long-term needs of a whole family. For those who frequently cook, bake, or simply need a versatile ingredient for many different dishes, buying in bulk not only optimizes costs, but also significantly reduces the number of trips to the store. This is a very practical advantage in a busy life. More importantly, flour has a long shelf life, is easy to store, and has a low risk of waste if used regularly. When a product combines three elements, consistently low price, high applicability, and good storage capacity, it almost becomes the default choice for savvy shoppers, requiring little consideration each time it appears on the shelf. 2. Children's life jackets. Children's life vests are a different story, but one that's equally noteworthy. At $19.99, Costco is positioning itself almost unrivaled in the mainstream segment. If you've ever shopped at sporting goods stores or travel agencies, you'll find prices are often significantly higher, especially during peak season. Interestingly, this isn't a frequently purchased item, but it's incredibly important when needed. And because of this buy less, but need it when you need it mentality, many people are willing to pay more without careful comparison. Costco capitalizes on this by keeping prices accessible year-round, allowing you to proactively prepare instead of buying hastily at a high price. Your child's beach or pool trips will be more fulfilling with a durable product that will last for years. The value isn't in the price, but in the vibrant summers spent with your family. 3. Tillamook cheese. While not every cheese at Costco is considered a bargain, Tillamook offers a perfect combination of quality and price. At $1.85 per 8 ounces when buying a 2-pound block, this isn't a shocking price for a week, but rather a stable price, almost always in the good range. This creates a very practical advantage. You don't need to wait for sales, and you don't need to visit multiple stores, but you still maintain low costs for an everyday ingredient. For those who bake, cook, or simply use cheese for sandwiches, pizzas, salads, etc., buying in large blocks is not only economical but also more flexible in preparation. However, the size is a point to note. If you don't use it frequently, you should consider how to store it or divide it into smaller portions to avoid waste. But if you use it regularly, this is the kind of product where each purchase locks in a good price for the whole month. 4. Quaker cereal bars. Costco's economies of scale are clearly demonstrated in this product, with a significantly lower unit price compared to the market average. At around 15 cents per bar, this price range is typically only found during deep discounts at supermarkets or short-term sales on online platforms. The difference lies in the fact that this price is not subject to change and remains relatively stable, eliminating the need for buyers to constantly hunt for deals. The good price is only part of the story. The real value lies in the convenience it offers in daily use. Instead of monitoring prices weekly, comparing prices across multiple stores, or buying in small quantities repeatedly, you can simply buy in bulk once and always have it readily available. This is especially useful for families with frequent needs, as maintaining a stable supply saves both time and effort. When a product achieves a consistently low price while eliminating the pressure of constantly hunting for promotions, it's not only a cost-effective choice, but also a smart and optimal consumer solution for today's busy lifestyle. 5. Progresso soup. Instead of chasing the cheapest deals, I believe long-term value lies in consistency. That's why Progresso has always held a strong position. At $9.99 for 8 cans, or about $1.25 per can, it almost hits the right balance between good value and convenience. You won't need to wait for sales or compare prices between stores. More importantly, it's a highly practical food for busy days. Just open the can, heat it up, and you have a nutritious snack. It's this ready-to-eat factor that makes this product worth more than the price tag suggests. When you buy it, you're not just buying food, but also the convenience of having time to cook. And because of the consistent and recurring use, stocking up doesn't create any pressure to consume. On the contrary, it saves you both time and money consistently. 6. Finish dishwasher tablets. The appeal of this product lies in its price. The unit price is so low it's hard to find at any other retail system. At around 9 cents per tablet, this is almost equivalent to the best deals on the market. But the difference is you don't need to wait or hunt for promotions. This is especially important for everyday consumables like dishwasher tablets, something you use regularly and are almost irreplaceable with. When the cost per use is optimized from the start, you are indirectly controlling a small but recurring expense in your daily life. Unlike impulsive purchases, this is a mandatory expense, so fixing the price low will create clear long-term benefits. In addition, the product has a long shelf life and is easy to store, so buying in bulk doesn't carry the risk of waste. This is a true buy and save, not because of the huge discount, but because it helps you maintain effective spending every day. 7. Ninja Dual Brew Coffee Machine. There's a group of products you don't necessarily have to compare every penny for, but you should think carefully before deciding, and those are everyday appliances. The Ninja Dual Brew Coffee Machine is a prime example. At $129.99, the key isn't how much cheaper it is compared to the market, but the value it delivers per use. Its ability to brew both ground and capsule coffee, multiple capacity options, and included large carafe and takeaway cups allow this machine to replace many small repetitive daily habits. If you have a habit of buying coffee outside every morning, the accumulated cost in just a few weeks will approach the price of the machine. When you switch to brewing at home, that expense is almost immediately reduced. More notably, Costco maintained the same price as the previous version despite adding features, making the overall value for money clearer. This isn't a purchase driven by a discount, but rather a decision based on long-term use and efficiency. A reasonable and acceptable investment. Like the video if this surprised you. 8. Mott's/Kellogg's Fruit Snacks. Mott's or Kellogg's might initially give the impression of being economical, but in reality, they are subtly gnawing away at your family's budget. At around 10 cents per pack, this product falls within the price range that smart shoppers typically set as a standard. Not so cheap as to raise doubts about quality, but not so expensive that you'll hesitate to buy another pack. This is a product group that runs out quickly, especially in families with young children or those who need convenient snacks every day. When consumption increases steadily, even a difference of a few cents per package can add up to your total monthly cost without you really realizing it. Costco doesn't make this product the cheapest option on the market, but they maintain a stable price over the long term. This allows buyers to avoid constantly monitoring promotions or changing their shopping habits. In many cases, this stability is crucial for better long-term spending control. 9. Frigidaire Ice Maker. The Frigidaire Ice Maker is a hidden gem at Costco. Initially overlooked, it's the most noticeable quality-of-life upgrade, completely eliminating the inconvenience of waiting for ice to freeze. At a discounted price of $125 from $160, you're buying more than just a device. You're buying everyday convenience. No more waiting for slow-freezing ice from your refrigerator, and no more buying ice outside every time you have guests. Everything becomes much more practical. Its compact design fits perfectly on the kitchen counter, it's easy to operate, and most importantly, it meets the practical needs of the modern family, fast, convenient, and hassle-free. This is the kind of product you might initially think you don't really need, but after using it, it becomes indispensable. At such a deep discount, the decision to buy isn't just about spending money. It's about upgrading your daily living experience. 10. Kirkland Bottled Water. Don't underestimate those small bottles of Kirkland water. They represent an essential item you'll repurchase repeatedly, forming an indispensable consumption habit. At $6.99 for 80 bottles, or about 8 cents per bottle, This might seem insignificant at first glance, but it's in these everyday consumer products that every small cent makes a big difference over time. If you regularly buy water at the supermarket for around 10 cents per bottle on sale, Costco is helping you cut even more costs without having to wait for promotions. More importantly, buying in bulk significantly reduces the frequency of purchases, saving you both time and effort. The product doesn't have a wow feeling when you buy it, but it quietly optimizes your monthly budget. A product that's both affordable, consistently in demand, and almost a no-brainer decision. Items to avoid. 11. Gatorade sports drink. There's a very common price trap that many people overlook, looking at the price per unit and forgetting the actual size. Gatorade sports drink at Costco are a prime example. At around 45 cents per bottle, it sounds reasonable, even cheap, compared to buying individual bottles. But the problem is, this is a 16.9-ounce bottle, while at supermarkets, you can easily buy a 32-ounce bottle for around 50 cents during sales. This means you're paying almost the same amount but only getting half the volume if you buy at Costco. And this is where many people buy the wrong thing without realizing it. When converting to price per ounce, the difference becomes very clear. Therefore, with products like bottled drinks, where size dictates value, comparing the correct units is key, not looking at the total number. 12. Small packaged snack chips. A similar scenario often occurs with small packaged snack chips in variety packs. On the surface, this seems like a very reasonable option. Multiple flavors in one box, convenient to carry, easy to portion, and suitable for quick meals or snacks throughout the day. However, when you delve into the actual cost, the price of around 40 cents per pack is significantly higher than the safe price range of around 30 cents often seen at supermarkets during promotions. This convenience easily leads buyers to overlook price comparison. You don't feel like you're paying more because everything is already packaged and arranged so neatly. But with fast-moving consumer goods, especially in households with young children, the small price difference per pack will silently accumulate into a significant amount over time. Costco isn't expensive. They're simply pricing correctly for the convenience they offer. The issue lies in your goals. If you prioritize speed and convenience, this is a reasonable choice. But if you want to optimize your spending, this product group is worth considering carefully before making a decision. 13. Brown sugar. The 7-pound brown sugar pack serves as a benchmark, reflecting the inefficiencies in how we allocate our money to recurring consumer goods. At $4.99 for a large bag, it seems reasonable overall, even giving the impression of saving money because you're buying in bulk. But when converted to approximately 71 cents per pound, this figure far exceeds the 50 cents for each 1-pound price, the typical sale price supermarkets often offer during baking season. It's worth noting that brown sugar isn't a product you need to buy urgently or use frequently every day. This means you could easily wait for seasonal sales to buy it at a significantly lower cost. And when multiplied by a large quantity like 7 pounds, a difference of a few cents per pound is no longer insignificant. Costco isn't expensive in a negative sense, but it's not the optimal choice if you understand the market's sales cycle. 14. Nature Valley bars. Nature Valley. Cereal bars fall into a different situation, not due to timing, but due to pricing from the start. At 45 cents per bar, this product is outside the reasonable price range many experienced buyers usually set, around 15 cents during sales. What makes it easy to fall into the shopping cart is the familiar feel of the brand and the convenience of buying in bulk. But realistically, you're paying almost double, even triple, the price you could find elsewhere. And because this is a recurring consumer product, a snack, a takeaway for daily use, this difference will quickly add up to a significant amount without you noticing. Costco in this case doesn't offer a price advantage, only convenience. And if your goal is to spend wisely, this is a time to pause, instead of buying out of habit. 15. Powdered sugar. Just because a price seems good doesn't mean you should immediately add it to your cart, especially for seasonal products like powdered sugar. Prices at Costco are generally quite reasonable, enough to give you peace of mind when buying without overthinking. However, the key consideration lies in the price cycle of this item. During peak baking seasons, many supermarkets often offer deep discounts, significantly lowering prices compared to Costco's year-round stable prices. This creates a rather interesting situation. You're not buying because it's expensive, but because the current price isn't yet at its best. If you can proactively plan your shopping, simply waiting for the right time can save you even more without changing your consumption habits or the quantity you use. For dry, easy-to-store ingredients like powdered sugar, timing can sometimes be more decisive than where you buy it. 16. Blue Apron Gift Card. Another more interesting case, and also more likely to mislead buyers, is the Blue Apron Gift Card. Essentially, seeing a $20 discount, many people automatically assume it's a good deal. But if you look a little deeper, you'll realize the real value isn't in the number printed on the card, but in the total discount you can receive. On their official website, Blue Apron frequently offers promotions up to $30 and can even combine them with other discount codes. Meanwhile, gift cards purchased at Costco are limited and cannot be combined with these offers. As a result, you think you're saving, but in reality, you're missing out on a much larger discount. This is a very common type of distraction discount, where the number looks attractive but doesn't fully reflect the actual value. And with products or services that have multiple layers of promotions like this, direct comparison is always a step that shouldn't be skipped. 17. Campbell's Soup. Campbell's Soup is often categorized as a buy-it-anywhere product due to its high popularity. However, upon closer examination, timing is what determines the experience or cost of this dish, rather than just the location. At $6.69 for the whole set, which translates to over $1 per can, this figure isn't shocking at first glance. But when placed in the context of the market, especially during end-of-year sales, where the price can drop to around 75 cents per can, the difference becomes significant. Interestingly, this isn't a product used immediately, but is often purchased to stock up for later cooking. Therefore, buying at the right time creates a much greater advantage than buying from the right place. Costco offers convenience in this case, but it's not the best option if you can wait for seasonal sales. Don't rush to buy just because you see it's in stock. With this product line, choosing the right price point is far more important than immediate convenience. 18. Toilet paper. Although a necessity that appears in every shopping cart regularly, toilet paper is often overlooked when it comes to optimizing actual costs. The good price is usually around 20 cents per roll or less, but the problem lies in how manufacturers package it. There are regular rolls, jumbo rolls, mega rolls, each with different lengths and numbers of layers, making comparisons much more complicated than what you see on the packaging. And this is where many people unknowingly pay more without realizing it, simply because they look at the number of rolls instead of the total actual length of the paper. Costco sometimes offers great prices, but not always. Therefore, instead of assuming buying here is always cheaper, a more effective approach is to convert it to the actual cost per unit of use. How much are you paying for the same amount of paper? Understanding this will allow you to start seeing familiar products from a completely different perspective and avoid small but recurring expenses over time. 19. Tide/Gain/all laundry detergent. There's a very common mistake when buying everyday consumables. We look at the total price, not the price per use. And laundry detergent, whether Tide, Gain, or All, is the clearest test of how you understand spending. A bottle might seem more expensive, but if it's used for more washes, the actual cost is significantly lower. A reasonable price point is usually around 19 cents per wash or less. When it drops to around $0.13, that's almost a rare price range, worth buying in bulk. But the problem is Costco doesn't keep this price fixed. There are good times, but there are also times when the price is pushed up significantly, causing you to unknowingly pay more if you don't check carefully. The key isn't the brand, but how you read the label. The total number of washes, volume, and the final price. When you shift from looking at the price per bottle to calculating the cost per use, you'll see clearly when it's time to buy and when it's time to wait. 20. Kitchen paper towels. Finding kitchen paper towels at $1 a roll is no longer as easy as it used to be, as this item has experienced a sharp price increase in the past few years. Costco sometimes still offers pretty good prices, but they aren't consistent. Sometimes you can get close to the ideal price, but other times the price is higher and still feels reasonable because you're buying in bulk. A common mistake buyers make is equating large packaging with actual economic value. To accurately assess, you need to go back to a familiar principle. Convert to actual units. How long is each roll? How many layers of paper are there? And what is the actual cost per roll? If you start looking at these numbers instead of the buy in bulk for convenience mentality, you'll realize that sometimes waiting for a sale or buying elsewhere is a smarter choice. At Costco, whether something is cheap or expensive depends entirely on how you perceive value. Instead of looking at the overall number, break down the cost per unit to see the true price. Stable. High-quality items are a priority, while products with fluctuating prices due to promotions require more careful consideration. Remember, effective shopping isn't about buying a lot, but about investing wisely in what's worthwhile. Which product in the video surprised you the most?